It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Look at this. I did not see you sing to open the
Yeah,
you go.
I know. I'm feeling a little under the weather. You know, it's not rocket season, so no funny business from either of you today because
What season? What season?
It's not rocket.
Oh, I was like, what is she talking about? What season? Yeah.
You guys are always like questioning me and my math and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why.
Wow.
Hey, welcome to the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. Yeah, it's Christmas on the set. Shout out to Doug and
really jazzed it up this
decorating.
Doug, did you do all this?
Doug did all this. Yeah.
Out of white, Dougie.
What do you say we just take the show and just talk about our favorite Christmas memories and just forget everything else?
Grandma's butter cookie recipe. I have already
I'll have this
asked for that because.
Yes.
That sounds good.
What was that from again?
Dumb and Dumber.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. College football season.
College football in full swing.
Yes.
It's crazy this year. I guess you can say the Flames obviously dropped that last contest at Sam Houston, so no CUSA championship for them, but still a solid season. You still have the bowl game to look forward to.
Right.
This team, you can say it did have a lot of fight in it. It never, gave up. It fought to the last minute. And what do you guys have to say about the Flames?
Well, I mean, in a lot of ways, the last game felt a little bit like the season as a whole, just kind of uneven, right?
Yeah.
It just never felt like it felt like we spent the entire season saying, boy, if this just clicks, or if it just comes together, the talent is there, if it can just, and obviously it never did. And Caden Salter injured in that last game. He wasn't himself.
He wasn't. You saw it on that last touchdown
83
run.
yards passing, 12 of 35. That's a season low, 83 yards. So he wasn't himself. At the same time, I mean, you look, Liberty passed for 200 yards once in their last 7 games. So I'll say this, and I know we can get into the game more itself. I had people asking me during the week or over the weekend, like, what was the big reason? Like, why do you feel like this team just wasn't able to be as good as we thought they would be? And I think that's one of the main things that I think you point to is just the passing offense just never gelled.
All season.
The new receivers that came in, whether because of injuries that derailed them, in like a Reese Smith's case, or whatever the case, that just never looked right. And guys just never. So in the back half of the season, that's why you saw them go, all right, we're going back to what we know. We're just going to run the heck out of the ball. They weren't able to do it in this game, and that's why you end up throwing it 35 times, and because you're trailing, obviously. But that, for me, is the biggest reason. Throughout the years, you look at the whole big picture, why they weren't able to be as good as we hoped they would be. The pass game just never figured it out.
And the question going into this game was, yes, they had a great game against Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
They looked the most complete we have seen all season long. But have we seen back-to-back games of that? Well, no, and that was the question mark, I think, going into this is, can this same Flames team that beat Western Kentucky show up at Sam Houston? And I think for many reasons, like Caden Salter clearly wasn't 100%
and Sam
healthy.
Houston is a much better
Their defense.
run defense, too. So that's
right.
Western Kentucky. Salter
They
could have
gave up
played on one
400,
ankle against Western Kentucky. He probably did through part of that game, and we still would have been fine. Not the case against that Sam Houston.
Yeah, Jalen Jimerson had something to prove against the Flames on Friday. What did you think of the game, Joe?
Well, I mean, it was like, I guess the best word to use is rhythm. Like, they were just out of rhythm. And I think, Mike summed it well. It's like you couldn't really, it took them some time to find their identity, and their identity ended up being what their original identity is supposed to be. And so that's where they moved as the second half of the season went on. And then the like I said, the passing game never really got going, and with injuries and everything else. But there was with the way defensively that the recipe is what teams chose to do to beat Liberty was to say, hey, we're gonna play you as a slow bleed, and it's like we're gonna do everything we can to take your explosives away. And so they didn't have that guy that could just make an explosive happen downfield at the receiver position on a consistent basis. So they did get taken away. And then on top with the Sam Houston is, I agree with you completely, the aspect of that, and I said it last year when I saw him, is like athletically, that Sam Houston defense is as athletic a defense as there is in Conference USA. And so because of that, be able to stop the run, and then you have the combination of the injury, couldn't get anything going in the passing game. It was just a recipe for, being in a very, very tight ball game. And then that comes down to this. It's like, you got an opportunity to make a couple plays. And that says a great deal about Liberty, is that their ability, their desire to fight, their desire to fight defensively. And the desire, Caden, he's on one ankle. Brought Berger in, I have to play some. But Caden's on one ankle, and, he still makes the play to get him in a position there. And you can't blame him on the 2-point play, because, he literally got the snap, turned and looked. They're trying to run a wide cross, have a little action in the front side, and he had a guy in his face immediately. His only option was to throw it up and see if somebody can make a play. So the 2-point play, I'm not putting on him whatsoever.
Would you like to see Quentin Cooley run that in?
Yeah, I think you get in the 2.5-yard line, it's like, okay, are you going to get a more crowded front down there? Yes, you are. But you can formationally wise do things in order to help spread them out, and then say, listen, Cooley's the one who's really they've done it in games before where it's like, I think Jamie said it. He's like, hey, this last drive, get the ball to Cooley, right? And it was almost in one of those situations where it was like, hey, let's put ourselves in a position, whether it's Caden trying to run it in because the read's not there, or just give the ball to Cooley and let him score.
But you know what?
So it's tough. It's tough.
And those things
hindsight
are always
hindsight.
It's
it's always hindsight.
If Jacob Jenkins, if they lose track of him and he's open and it works, then you're saying like, oh, what a great play call, and we're having a different conversation.
And it's funny because I remember as I was watching the game, and I thought, okay, I'm watching the game. I'm thinking, okay, what would I run right now as a 2-point play? And the very first thought that went through my head was, well, let's get some type of rollout with a crosser, right? Because if the crosser gets lost in the junk, you see it happen all the time. If the crosser gets lost in the junk, then you throw back to him, it's wide open. If it's not there, then you have your action on the front side that you run, right? And so, in terms of the play call, I can't argue with that play call. The play call, I think, was fine. It's that he got held up, and the dude came in his face right away. It happened. And he had to throw the ball.
Still, the Flames looking at an 8-3 overall record, a really, really solid season. I think, like you said earlier, it just felt like the whole season was a little bit out of rhythm.
I think the reason it feels worse than the record indicates is because, as you look around the conference, and it felt like, well, there's really only a couple, 2, maybe 3 good teams in this conference. So it's not even the 8-3; it's the overtime against FIU. It's needed a miracle to beat a really bad New Mexico State team.
Lost to Kennesaw State.
Lost to Kennesaw State.
Gosh, New Mexico State feels like forever.
So that's why it always, even as the record, and people are like, well, they're winning. Why is it? Well, it's because it didn't feel like those should be games that were tight.
Yeah. But
they were, and that just goes back to they had enough talent, even though things weren't gelling, to find a way, and obviously they're good enough coaches that they could figure it out, and they did. But, man, those felt like games that, Liberty should have been running away from some of these teams, and they just never were able to.
And Chadwell says it all the time. No one's going to feel sorry for you about, injuries and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of teams all across the country can say this, but it is hard to, not think about woulda, coulda, shoulda if you had a healthy receiving core, because you never really had that until the last, 2 games of the season. So, it's just, we'll see what the bowl game is. Hopefully.
Do we have any?
Matt Warner's your insider.
No insight I can share at this point. We'll just wait till Sunday. We'll find out Sunday, and we'll see. Here's the interesting thing.
That's news that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing, and this is I have no information on any of this stuff, so I always want to say that. It's going to be interesting as we enter this season, and you're already seeing guys on Twitter and all that stuff be like, going to the portal, going to the portal, going to the portal. Not Liberty guys, but just guys around the country. But you get to this stage, who's going to be available for a bowl game? It's not like the old days where you knew.
Insane.
It could look a lot different for not just Liberty, but for a lot of teams when you get to a bowl game. Like your roster may look a lot different and have a lot fewer bodies in it than it did 48 hours.
100%.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a big question.
It's the big question.
A big question.
Is this a segment?
And we saw a glimpse of Ryan Berger there in this past game.
Yeah.
Does that indicate that the Salter show is over at Liberty?
Yeah, will Salter play or not? I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if you're. I mean, you do see like people who think that they can go to the next level, right? Whether that's in the draft or to the combine to whatever it may, like everything is trending obviously to the direction of, hey, sit out of the bowl game and get prepared to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a bowl game that it's like, okay, it'd be nice to win, of course,
Right.
but is it worth risking the potential for injury over? That's the bottom line. Yeah. And so it'll be interesting to see if Caden decides to play or not.
Yeah. It is going to be interesting, not only shake up on the roster in terms of players for these teams, but Sam Houston's head coach just left.
Yeah, a lot of shake up within
Temple.
Conference USA.
Yeah, and then Kennesaw State hired Jerry Mack. He was, you said, the running backs coach.
He was the running backs coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars, running backs coach at Tennessee before that, was a head coach before at North Carolina Central from 14 to 17.
Oh, wow.
So he takes over that program as they replace Brian Bohannon. Yeah.
Could it be the Liberty Flames versus the North Carolina Tar Heels in a bowl game?
Whoa.
Is that possible?
And no one would be better prepared to call that game than this guy.
I got both those teams down pat.
Can you imagine?
Make the call. I'm ready. Make the call. No, could that happen? I mean, six and six.
Who's going to plant a flag in the middle of the field?
Yeah, Oh, stop. Boy, I was on the call for that Carolina State game, and that thing got heated.
Oh,
I think all
across the country.
I mean,
what was going on?
What was happening? Michigan, Ohio State was pepper spray.
Was
all right, and then you had Virginia Tech fighting before the game. Then something happened in the Arizona game.
Yeah.
Then the North Carolina thing got heated because they took out one of the best players in the field with a cheap shot. So that got both teams heated. And then
there's fights after the Mizzou-Arkansas game on the field.
Was there fight after Mizzou? It was like something was in the water on Saturday.
Rivalry week, baby.
Yeah,
rivalry week. They need to shut that down, though. Like
something
like it get the whole flag plant thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. Because I said it on the air. I was like, well, we shouldn't do this and blah, blah. I said, well, here's the bottom line. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, dude, if another team comes over and plants their flag, what are you expected to do? Are you expected to wave at them and walk in the locker room? Like, you're always going to get a reaction when you do that. And the reaction is not going to be a good one. I don't care who you are.
It happened in the Florida State game as well.
Florida State.
And Bill Napier said after the game that he's going to discipline the players that actually did that. And that's what, there should be discipline. Yeah. Like whether it's from
the
conference
are
or whoever.
I'm trying to think. There was another coach who went after his players though, attempting to do it. Who was that?
Was it Florida State? Was it Mike
Norvell?
Norvell?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
It wasn't Ryan
Norvell
Day.
was in the mix.
Did you watch
No,
it?
he was just
He's
chilling.
just standing there, just watching it all. Okay.
Ryan Day was just.
He's like, yeah, go for it, guys.
Looking at players.
How does Ohio State get beat by Michigan?
Oh my gosh,
Michigan was awful.
I watched
They
that
were
game.
Terrible.
Also, FIU has fired their head coach, Mike McIntyre. So, a lot of shakeup.
There are some rumors there
that
they might just hire Pitbull.
Pitbull, that's what I was going to ask.
Why not? Right?
What are you talking about?
Well, the stadium is
Pitbull
Pitbull
is
Stadium. He
named
bought all the
after
name. So why not just bring him in?
Just bring Pitbull.
Give him give him a good staff.
Can you imagine the hype?
You give him the right staff.
Can you be on a coach's call with Pitbull?
I mean, is this kind of a little bit of a? That would be pretty fun.
That would be hilarious.
The sunglasses I'd wear on that guy.
Yeah.
What up, dog?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But either way, it'll be interesting to see the bowl game for the Flames and moving forward, who's even on this roster. Signing day this Wednesday.
Yes.
So that should be exciting about the future of the Flames as well. Men's basketball won by 4,000 points on Friday.
That was a barn burner. You got to be on the call for that.
It wasn't there. Did you watch?
I
didn't watch. Don't even act like you watched. She didn't watch.
I was literally sleeping because I was at my family's and I was sleeping and I was very sick. So
she was sick.
I was in and out trying to watch basketball.
But then
trying
that
to watch
was
football.
a barn burner.
Was that was a 2 p.m. tip? 4 p.m. 4.
So let me just give
on.
you how my day went real fast.
What was the
Emily
meal?
always does the whole it always happens to me. Let me do this for a second. Sorry to upstage you here while she was sleeping. So I'm driving to the office on that Friday for the basketball game to get ready. Car breaks down.
No.
So I'm in
while you're on the way.
the Sheets. So I pull into the Sheets parking lot. Like lights are flashing. It looks like the Christmas tree on my dash. So wife comes, takes me to the office. So I get work done. Naz picks me up, brings me back, whatever.
You always count on that.
Always count on that.
Yeah, me
so
not so
during
much.
the game, during the basketball game,
so much.
Yak was nowhere to be
Yeah,
found.
yeah. Sorry, buddy. You're on your own.
Yeah. During the game, we got the phone here, so Naz and I can see the football game while we're calling the basketball game. Which, by the way, Richie at halftime asked for the football score.
Did he really?
He did.
Not
He
me.
No,
Not me.
here's
He
what-
didn't
Can I
ask
tell
for
you what
me.
he said about Emily? This is why I wondered if you watched. We get on the headset with Richie at the half, and Richie goes, "Hey, no Emily here today, so take as long as you guys want. I'm happy to talk with you guys, as many questions as you want to ask." So that was great. But so
Whatever.
then, game ends, we drive back to my car. I'm trying to get under the hood, see what's going on, see what we can. Well, I've got.
You don't know what's going on
I don't
under the
know.
hood.
Well, it was
You
pretty
have no
obvious.
clue
It was pretty
what's
obvious
going
what
on
happened.
underneath you.
I
Oh
Oh
just
my
couldn't
gosh,
take
I
it.
was
Don't
just spitting
spit
my
the water.
water.
trying to watch the end of the game.
While we're
Meanwhile,
under the hood.
Salter's running for a touchdown. We're trying to call a tow truck. It was a mess,
Madness.
a total mess. I don't have a car right now, but hey, listen, you know what?
Hey, buddy, if you need a ride, let me know.
Find a way. Yeah, right. Naz brought me to work. I'm not. Yeah.
Naz.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh
it
my
was a lot
gosh.
going on.
Oh, Matt.
Poor
It's all right.
Matthew.
I thought I had an
all right.
awful weekend. Stanley, just so everyone knows, we
Oh.
can pray for Stan.
Stanley.
My puppy.
Stan's hurt.
Yeah.
Stan
Stan's
wiped
on
out
IR.
hard on my mom's dock, so
We're-
he's currently at the vet with a torn Achilles or something really
We
wrong.
are
so.
printing some Stanley Strong T-shirts.
Yeah,
that
Stanley
we're gonna
Strong.
Pass out.
You know,
around
like
town.
Stanley Steamers? We'll do the same lettering
A
as
wristband.
Stanley.
The wristband.
The
I want a
wristband.
wristband.
Yeah.
Stanley
You guys are so mean.
No, basketball looked great.
But basketball, yeah, obviously they were playing a lesser opponent.
Yes.
But
When's their next game?
when-
Saturday.
they won,
Mississippi Valley
obviously
State.
Okay. Yeah.
they won the Paradise
Paradise
Jam. So
So interesting thing, Mississippi Valley State, their next opponent, they are Division One. They're not very good. I don't know what they did over the weekend. They were 1-6. Their one win, Joe, you're gonna like this. Their one win came against Mississippi University for Women,
Huh?
which apparently has men's athletics as well. Can you imagine?
Title IX, baby.
Can you imagine that? Like, oh, you signed to play ball. Where are you going? Mississippi. Oh, like you going to Ole Miss? No. Mississippi.
Mississippi
University.
State?
Mississippi. Like Mississippi. You're gonna be a bullet. Mississippi University for women. For women. You're what? This day and age, you never know.
They'll
I'm,
probably
ha-
change
I'm
the
having
name
a
of
hard
that in
time wrapping
January.
my head around this.
I know.
one. Mississippi State University for
women.
women. And this was their men's basketball
Yes.
team.
So Mississippi Valley State beat them, but that's who Liberty will get. But Liberty.
I mean, I can go in a lot of directions. With it,
I
but
am
but I'm gonna stay
I
out
am
of
not
I know.
saying
I was
a word.
taking a gamble, even telling
Yes,
you.
I think that was
a
very
gamble.
bold of you. to
But
bring
Liberty
up.
ranked 65th in the Kim Palm rankings, best in Conference
Okay.
USA. And NCAA released their net rankings today, so that kind of encapsulates a bunch of things. And Liberty's 53rd in the
Okay.
country, like 30 spots ahead of the next best USA team, which is
wow.
Louisiana Tech. So all that to say, what Liberty's done, the work they put in so far this year, it's paying off.
So
It's a fun team to watch. For
in
sure.
Conference USA, Western Kentucky won last year.
The tournament, yeah.
So that would put them. I mean, obviously, if you're ranked that high right now, you have a great season. I don't we could put the cart before the horse here, but you have a great season. I mean, you get into the tournament, like there's a Conference USA with Western Kentucky was probably like a 12 seed last year, or something
I think
like
that's
that.
a 12, maybe a 13, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh, yeah, for
shoot,
sure.
if you could have a really good season and roll,
Yeah.
like you could bump that thing up. You know,
And-
but
and
let's not
you're
jump
right,
it.
right. In
But
Conference USA,
expectations are high.
They are high, but I do want to say this because I've seen a lot of that, like, oh, this is the best team since what, like, Conference USA
It's tough.
is tough, and some of those teams have gotten better as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Right.
Like
yeah.
a Middle Tennessee, like
Yeah.
I think they're going to be really good. We know about Louisiana Tech. Kennesaw State beat a ranked Rutgers team. They were picked to finish at the bottom of the league. Nobody thought they were going to be any good. It was a rebuild. They beat 24th Rutgers or whatever it was. Like, they're good. So, like, it's not going to be.
It's just so hard to judge because you don't know, like, with all the turnover on
Yeah,
these teams
that is
every
hard.
year.
Kennesaw
Like,
State's been our nemesis.
I know that.
They beat us in basketball last year too, didn't they? Beat us
2 years ago.
2 years
last
ago
year,
in
the
the
Sun. Yeah.
for the championship.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Anything else you guys got? You have any good Thanksgiving stories, Joe?
Oh, let's see.
You put the shot collar on?
No, I didn't do the shot. I thought about the shot collar, but we'd already
I didn't know
down
if that became a family tradition.
Yeah, we should make that a family
Yeah,
tradition.
really should.
Yeah, put on Reese now.
Yeah, it just goes
Oh
down
my
the line.
gosh,
Yeah.
no.
Put it-
Tina
put
would
it on-
not.
No, Dina would not go for that. No, I can't really think. It was a good Thanksgiving.
I've got a mailbag if you want.
Oh,
The
let's do
mailbag.
some
You
do
mailbag.
mailbag?
If you want to be a part of the show, you can do so. flamecentral@liberty.edu.
This comes from our buddy David. He wants to know if you were the GM, if you will, of Liberty, which, by the way, you see Andrew Luck just got hired
what
at
is
Stanford
that?
as
Yes.
GM.
You know what makes me so excited about is because the captain, Andrew Luck, Twitter account is my favorite. And he's
I
Dear
don't know.
Mother.
I haven't seen that one.
What? I'll show you after. It's hilarious.
But apparently this is going to be the new thing.
Yeah.
Is GMs within college football programs.
Wow.
But if you were the quote-unquote GM, what would your top priorities be going into the off season?
in terms of
In terms of roster, I think
personnel?
is what he's talking
Yeah.
about. Like, what are the areas that you're like, this would be my first focus here. This is where we need to get better.
I mean, that one's easy.
Okay.
receiver, secondary.
I'm going in and spending a lot of money,
Yeah,
right?
that's what
to
it is.
find two really good receivers.
Okay.
Like two dudes that can stretch the field and have explosive plays downfield.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's easy. And then you're never. I mean, the reality is like if you had to go offense, give me two studs at receiver, and then you got to have a stud at left tackle.
Yeah.
That's a big. And then defensively, you can never have, like, everything comes down to your front seven. So you got to be who are the best defensive tackles and rush ends out there, especially rush ends, like stud rush ends, because you got T.J. Bush, right? Is T.J. Bazell senior? I don't know. I think he is. Yeah. But anyways,
Well, but here's the thing too.
I think he might have
Like
an
the
extra
other thing
year,
too
but-
is that it's hard to say, because right now we say, well, we have this guy, you have this guy.
but
We
you
don't know if we have
right.
this guy and that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you may not know, and that's probably what's going on right now in that building.
You know
is
what I've
a
just
lot
thought
of
of?
that, those type of conversations
And
to
you
figure
can
out
switch.
who's still here, who can we retain that we want to retain, to know what we have
Yeah,
going
exactly.
It's
forward.
just so wild, and then you can change until like the end of spring
It's crazy.
ball,
It's crazy
right?
how much will turn over. You know what I just thought of?
So,
I'd make an excellent
CJ's
GM.
a junior, by the way.
I'd be a really good GM.
You would be a good GM.
I mean,
Are
you
you
give
gonna
Joe
try
Yock.
to be more humble in
You give Joe
2025?
Yock the reins and say, "Listen, this is the team. This is the squad we got to put together."
Yeah.
I mean, shoot.
It's in your blood.
I mean,
in my blood.
I would be an awful GM because I ride
You'd
with
be an
my
emotional GM. You're like, "Oh, his grandmother just passed away. Sign him, please."
Are you kidding? Every time a guy transferred,
Yeah.
she would just
She'd
not be
meltdown.
able to handle it.
yeah.
I'd say
Or-
don't let the door hit you.
Oh
on
my
the
gosh!
way
If you
out.
tore your ACL, we'd have bracelets everywhere.
Yeah. Terrible GM.
No, I know my fantasy team. I was like starting strong, not
NFL.
Flames.
Okay.
I'm talking about NFL, and I like don't want to give up on guys. I'm like, Baker, you can do it. Like, I love you, Baker, but they just.
Oh, what's
still,
Final Fantasy points?
Okay, we can move on to that. First two things. We got our final Snell scoring system.
Dougie, go get the
we
trophy,
all
please.
lost.
Final Snell scoring system.
We
We all
all
took
lost.
liberty.
Grab the
We all
trophy,
lost.
Dougie.
So, for the second straight year, this baby is going to be on my shelf in my office. Second straight year.
Let me look at that.
Flames football score
Come on,
prediction
Dougie.
champion.
The one that matters.
Oh my gosh, you
we
do
love,
not have
We love
abs.
Jeff Snell.
Yeah.
This guy has.
Yeah,
That guy
sure.
has abs
No,
and a
this
little
was-
speedo
This was
on.
modeled after I did.
Is that a diver?
We
They
love
actually
Jeff
modeled this
Snell.
after me, after my yeah.
Definitely not Joe.
We
Not
love. We
Joe
love.
looks like he swallowed the butterball turkey.
We love. No,
Hold on now.
We love Jeff Snell, but
No.
everybody knows this is the one we're
Jeff
chasing
actually said, and he brought that up this week. He said he noticed that Emily joked that she got rid of the trophy last week, and Joe immediately thought she was talking about this trophy. So he said, obviously, this is the trophy. He did say he's working on some sponsorship naming rights, and this trophy may be presented by Rocket Mortgage next year. That's Jeff's words, not mine.
after. You don't put that evil on me,
That's
Ricky Bobby.
Jeff's, not mine.
Don't you put
Still
that
in
evil on me,
discussion.
Ricky Bobby.
Nothing has been decided
my
as of yet.
gosh.
Nothing's been decided.
Did
as of
you
yet.
see? Did you see the little thumbnail I put for the YouTube last year or last week?
No.
For you, oh man, I don't. I'll have to show you after because I think I'm not.
Give me a fantasy update.
Okay, fantasy update. Not last one. We got the bowl game, so there's still a lot that could happen. And honestly, I mean, who even knows what it's going to look like for the bowl game? A lot could change.
Look at Joe, and
Yeah.
I think it's too far away.
It's just another.
Sorry, making Doug work over here. The thumbnail for
That's good. That's good.
with the duck face.
Yeah.
The duck face.
It's all like too easy.
All right, here we go. Flames fantasy scoring. Final week of the regular season. Joe, bad week for him.
What?
19.9 points. Did not get in the
what a
end zone.
shame.
So for a total of 400 on the year.
Even.
400 even.
They say.
Wow, that is so ridiculous.
I scored 21.3, which really I think isn't it how you finish? Like, shouldn't that be the more important thing? So I won this week.
Okay, you
Yeah.
won. So
So there
what's
you
your
go.
overall?
282.1. And then Emily at
this is bad.
17.6.
What's
She
she
finished
at?
with 250.
Oh, this is a
So
blowout.
I propose for the bowl game.
Don't even try me.
Emily and I go
the
triple the
offense.
points.
Yeah.
We get like a triple. It's kind of like in Starbucks. You get the little notification. Hey, it's a triple point Friday or triple star for whatever.
Oh, I look
like
at
we
this for
get,
Jersey Mike's.
We get triple point
Okay.
bowl game.
Oh, a deal.
Oh,
Deal.
okay.
A triple point.
There you go.
Wow.
You know what? Since it is the holidays,
Season of giving.
Season of giving, right? We're gonna let's go quad points.
Quad points.
Let's quad point it.
Hey,
Why not? We'll just quad
okay,
point it.
okay.
Joe Yock is not just about the season of giving on the Flames Fantasy League.
Yeah.
He also does it if you're looking to buy a home.
Tell
Yeah,
us, Joe.
we'll go quad points on our
Okay.
lender credit. Why
Yeah,
not?
why
We're gonna
not?
go. We'll give 1%. Why
Yeah.
give up to 1%?
Yeah.
Why give just $5,000? Let's give $20,000.
I would
Why
not say that
No. We're just kidding on
Yeah,
that.
totally, Joe. That's not a verbal contract.
MLS
Yeah.
ID number
Yeah.
315. We're just kidding on
Yeah.
that. Yes, no, but go to alcova.com. alcova.com/liberty, right? Receive up to 1% on your total loan amount, up to $5,000 total off your closing costs. It is wintertime is a great time to buy a house, right? That's when the serious home buyers come out, right?
Right.
People, you house list, I got to bundle up the winter. I'm wait for the spring. Why wait for the spring market when everybody's in the spring market?
Right.
Like let's bundle up, put the scarf.
Scared money don't
Emma,
make
you
no
got
money.
a scarf. Emily's got scarves.
It looks
Yeah.
like that guy's about to punch you
Yeah,
every
right in
time
the
you
jaws.
talk.
So yes,
weird.
alcova.com/liberty.
Yeah, get it done.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for listening and watching. Anything else this week?
Lastly,
Oh,
one thing that
other than Saturday, sorry, men's basketball. home game.
Saturday. Actually, I have one more. What was the segment that you said?
Numbers that matter.
Numbers that matter.
Oh.
From Matt. I have one more for you before we go.
I love numbers that matter.
You take a look at this season. There's a lot of areas you could say, could have done this, could have done that, could have. I think the most blame lays at the feet of Conference USA because Jamie Chadwell in 2 seasons has still yet to lose a game on a Saturday.
Whoa.
Every loss has come on a midweek, or in this case, a Friday game. So
Wow.
maybe Conference USA trying to hold the Flames down. That's all
could
I'm
be.
saying.
Yeah.
Keep us
Friday
on-
game, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Saturday games only.
That's the
moving forward.
That's the number that matters.
That's the day that matters.
There you go.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that Western Kentucky Jack State rematch
How
in the
about that
championship.
ending? We didn't talk about that.
Yeah.
Field goal to win at the Horn for Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good ball game.
It will be.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good ball game. I'll tell you this right now. I'm taking Jack State all day in that game just because.
They're running back.
They're
At
gonna
home.
run the ball all day
Yeah.
long.
At home, yeah.
At home, that's right.
And Rich Rod's name is starting to float out there a little bit with that. What could it be? Return to West Virginia.
No way.
His name's
Is
been
it?
thrown around. His name's been thrown around.
I hate this time of year. I want everyone to stay and no
Don't
one
like
leave.
change. Yeah.
Emotional roller
We're
coaster.
here. We're
Yeah,
not going anywhere.
I know. You guys are
We're locked in.
awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are locked in.
We're
All
locked.
right, Flame Central podcast.
It's the
forever.
Flames. It's
We
a
should
Central.
actually get tattoos. Flame Central podcast.
Okay.
Now we're going off the
Did we just become best
It's
friends?
the Flames. It's the Central. It's a podcast, and it's powered by.
Alcova Mortgage. See you next week.
See ya.
Peace.